What's up, everybody? Welcome back into the Play the Fight Song College Football Show. The Week 5 slate is absolutely loaded, and we are going to preview 4 to 5 marquee matchups tonight with our first-time actual marquee matchup standing out. We will get to that game, but the 4 on the list for sure, as well as our G5 preview of the week, will be a part of the show tonight, and that's Arizona State TCU, Bama, Georgia, LSU, Ole Miss, Oregon, Penn State, and then our G5 game of the week will not be named until it is that time. Joined alongside my week-to-week co-hosts JP, Jake, and Reese. Boys, how we doing tonight? I think some of us are still in recovery from JP's bachelor party. Congrats to JP, long trip back from Deadwood. But JP, let the people know how you're sounding tonight. Might need to pick you up. I'm glad StreamYard enhanced the audio for now.
Yeah, I don't think I sound bad, but I still sound a little rough. I was like nonverbal Monday or Sunday, Monday. Tuesday was
and
like
Saturday night.
Self-imposed ban. Yeah, like it was bad news bears. I sound better. I don't feel much better. I think I caught something a little bit too, but Deadwood was unreal. That place was so much fun. It was a blast. Appreciate everybody coming out for it. And GA. Thank you, GA. I didn't see that.
Yeah, shout out GA. GA sent the boys a super chat to enjoy a round. What a nice man, great, very nice man. But I'm fairly certain that 20 went into a slot and got lost quick. I mean, Deadwood took the boys from a different angle. Not on sports betting entirely, though. Jake, how'd you do this weekend? How was your weekend? I know we saw each other, but tell the people.
Yeah, sports betting wise, I mean, I've not been doing great on the ATS board on Twitter for the last 3 weeks, but I've been
the picks are giving to the public, but don't worry, behind closed door, people.
And then I was doing really good on my own picks, behind closed doors. Flash forward to this week, I have a hell of a week. I think I went 7-3 or 8-2, one or the other, and I think I went 3-4 in my personal picks this weekend. So give and take, it's fine. I needed a losing weekend with my actual money just to catch up with JP on the ATS board and reclaim my triple crown that I'm going for. So if I had to substitute it, we'll deal with what we have. And now we're kind of back to even everywhere else. So let's just win everything this week.
On that far side, Reese is rocking the new No Rivals cap. The Vanderbilt Commodores ranked in the top 25, both in the AP poll and the Play the Fight Song poll. But usually that Play the Fight Song poll is a little bit more accurate towards college football. Reese, how we doing?
Good. We are finally recovered. I think I've taken a nap every single day since I've gotten back from Deadwood. 20 hours in the car didn't help, but man, it was a lot of fun. I'm glad we got to go do it. If you haven't been out to that part of the South Dakota, you got to drive like 17 hours. Over there. It's pretty cool when you get over there, and Deadwood's a nice little town. So
we did have a hell of a time.
Golf course was immaculate. That was fun. That was cool.
Swing, not good. Golf course, very good. Very good day. Very good weekend celebrating JP. But we are here to talk college football tonight. Week 5 has a ton of games that we could go through them all. We could take 5 hours of your time. We lock them down to 4 or 5, which we will do so. But we need to recap week 4 first, just very briefly, before we get into these awesome games this week. And before we do that, we got to remind you to shop our great partner over at No Rivals. ShopNoRivals.com. Use the code PTFS. Jake, why don't you tell them a little bit about No Rivals? What do you like about them? Somebody else go. I'm always giving the ads.
I like that they support the 4 best teams in college football: Syracuse, Iowa State, Nebraska, and Iowa. I mean,
what a nice guy.
The 4 best fan bases in all of college football. But go and check them out. They're up to probably, I don't know, what is it, 20, 30, 40? It seems like they're growing a new team by the day. The best hats in collegiate sports. Sorry, if you don't see your team there, they're working on it. They're growing just like we are, and they're the best partners around. So use code PTFS at checkout for free shipping and go and request a hat under the Request a Teams tab. We did this at Iowa State for our fan perspective all last year. I'm a man of my word. I said, we're going to get a hat. I don't know when, but we're going to. And they delivered this year. So I'm sure if you let them know, they'll listen to you, just like they've always listened to us, our great partners.
Shout out No Rivals.
Is that
go ahead.
The same material and same build as the Nebraska
Buster hat I had? It sure is. Little mesh breathability, colored strap, all white underneath. They got some good detail in there. Shout out No Rival, but it sure is. Nice little golfing cap, breathable. Good call by JP. But shout out No Rivals and shout out the Iowa State fan perspectives. Check that out if you haven't. Jay Bird, the man of the hour, got his first 2 caps from No Rivals. They're comfortable. They sweat resistant. They're clean, beautiful designs.
Here's the thing about
Next one.
Here's the thing about them. I've always heard, like, when the Iowa State one came out, there's like 4 or 5 designs. They're like, I don't know if any of them fit me. Well, good news is they're dropping new designs probably like every 2 weeks. So once your team on there, you're getting a new design every week. Like, how many does Nebraska and Iowa have up to this point?
I think Nebraska's got 26 out there right now, and Iowa's got even more. So check them out today, shopnorivals.com. Shout out to the Iowa State fan perspective, though. Back to Jake quickly. Check out their Arizona preview. It's streaming live right now on our YouTube. Big-time matchup in Ames this weekend. Jake will be in attendance, and then Jake will go live tomorrow for Iowa and Indiana. So make sure you watch that as well when that drops, and subscribe to the YouTube while you're there. Gentlemen, I can't believe I forgot this. Hit the like button on this video. Let's take a second. We absolutely stroked the sponsor for 20 minutes. That's on us. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button on this video. Thank you for being here. Let's recap week 4 to start things off. Same recaps as always. Let's start with the most shocking result from week 4. Reese, why don't you go first?
This was one where I went with, I thought I was going to go with another one, but I think it's just Illinois' offensive stat line. Like, we looked at this game and like Indiana dominated. This Illinois stat line was abysmal. They rushed the ball 20 times for 39 yards, and Altmaier was sacked 7 of these times. So like their net yards was positive 2, but still 20 times for 39 yards or for 39 yards is insane. You're 1 of 10 on third downs, 161 total yards on offense on 45 plays, and you never reached the red zone like once. Like, this was a game where I went to that betting machine and I took Illinois because I'm like, they're going to make this a game. Like, it's competitive. It's Bloomington, Indiana. Brett Bielema, Luke Altmaier. I talked about how having an experienced quarterback is going to be helpful, but it just did not show up. Chris Signetti just absolutely shut that offense down and just gave them nothing. So we'll see what Illinois is the rest of the way. But that stat line, I think, was just that you just can't win any ball games. You're going to do anything near that. So
I wouldn't be shocked if one of the other two has Illinois on that as well. Not just their stats, but the score itself. I mean, wow, what a beatdown Signetti's squad put on Bielema's team.
Dead immediately.
I'll go to my next one. I was actually sitting in a sports book in South Dakota. I looked over at Jake, and Jake, hopefully you remember this. I said, Jake, we're like a couple weeks away from hearing about the Calgorithm again, and that's Cal Berkeley. And then we looked the next day.
No, we're not.
And they got beat 34-0 by San Diego State. So to me, the most shocking result was Cal. They got beat 34-0 by San Diego State. They gave up a pick 6, a fumble return 6, and just looked abysmal across the board. Let's use that word twice tonight. After coming off their win against Minnesota, which kind of took the country by surprise, they looked horrible on the road. Also, a positive note, Sean Lewis's squad could turn them in the right direction. We talked about Sean Lewis, previewed San Diego State in the preseason, said it could be really good, could be really bad. We were kind of in between. Obviously, that's a big-time win for that schedule. But Cal, by far, my most shocking result. Jake.
Yeah, that was mine too. And a couple of different things. Like Wilcox said in the presser this Monday, he's like, listen, like, I thought we had a good week of practice. I thought we bounced back from the Minnesota game, well-focused and ready to go. And just for some, he's like, he literally didn't have words. He's like, for some reason, it just didn't show up on Saturday. And the weird part is, too, is like, you stayed within state. You know, Cal plays that ACC schedule. They got to go cross country to Boston College this weekend. That is where you'd kind of expect them to drop one. Not at night, not in the same state. You're really traveling not that far, and you just laid an egg there. So, yeah, I'll tail that one with you, Parks. But I'll say this. I don't know if this is a result. I guess this is a result. Probably the most shocking of the result of the weekend was Braden Fowler Nicolosi getting benched, and his team was in a one-score game the entire
quarterbacking.
The entire fourth quarter. One of the biggest home games Colorado State's had in a while outside of Colorado last year. For those who don't know, Colorado State's third-year quarterback. Is he on year 3, year 4 at this point?
Yeah.
And they just, it wasn't like they were getting blown out. They were well within the game. And Norvell said, we're done. You're done here. So we'll see if he starts next week.
JP.
How many of you guys had Toledo playing for a MAC title?
Probably
quite a few. Western clipped them 14-13. I don't know.
MAC is bad.
Come on, Tucker.
Neither
MAC is
quarterback
really bad.
throws a touchdown.
Come on.
Gleason throws for less than 102 interceptions. They gave the ball, I think, to train them 26 times. Yeah, 26 times for 153 yards. it was like it's all they had. Western hadn't won a game all year. I understand they're playing bye games, but they played North Texas too. We're in that close. That's just not the result I saw. I wasn't expecting Toledo to be slowed down offensively from a Western Michigan defense, and it was ugly. I mean, 0 first half points, or 3 first half points for Toledo, 0 for Western. Western outscores them 14-10 in the second half and wins that thing by 1. Crazy.
We support the G5 around here, but because we cover all 136, we're also allowed to criticize 136 teams. And Jason Candle continues to prove why I believe he's top 5 most overrated coaches in all of college football. And he's kind of reaped the benefits of what, my boy Matt Campbell kind of left him. And he's put together a couple of conference title seasons, but he just always finds a way. I thought this could have been a G5 berth for the playoff team. I thought the talent was there, and he always finds his way to get one or two hiccups.
It's the same problem they had last year, dropping games that they shouldn't, being the team that they were. A couple of low-hanging fruit out there that we didn't talk about that could have been on this list. Syracuse kind of taking it to Clemson the way that they did. I mean, score kind of
shock and go orange. Shock and go orange.
He did not shy away from it, but that's a big win for Syracuse. I mean, there was a couple across the board that were like, yikes. I don't know what these teams are doing, but there were also some great games. North Texas and Army, our G5 game of the week from last week, goes into overtime after an explosive start from the Mean Green. They're getting some media attention, but a good one overall. Before we go to our big takeaway, any other games that we should probably mention that we didn't yet? I feel like I had one in my mind that I'm blanking on, but there was a few out there that were like, all right. Oh, I mean, Mike Gundy getting fired? Can we have a conversation?
Yeah,
they lost to
Tulsa.
You can lose to Tulsa, man. Definitely a shocking result. We all had a Oklahoma State money line ticket in our hand after they went down 10.
We did.
We did. That's got to be a shocking result.
What a ride.
So shout out Oklahoma State. We'll see who the new face of that program is. We know they're making a push for a few guys there, especially Zach Robinson, but we'll cover that as the weeks come. All right, one big takeaway from week 4. Let's go down the line. Let's go backwards. JP, you first.
There's a couple teams that look a lot better than expected. Mm-hmm. And it's not just a lot. I mean, this is dramatically better than we expected. Indiana, we knew they'd be solid, but they look really, really, really good. Vanderbilt,
yes.
Kansas, Texas Tech.
Yes.
It's insane to me, like how good they all look. And then there's teams that you're like, I'm not really sure about, maybe like in between, but there's probably more out there. But these teams are above and beyond expectation, even if they had high expectations to this point.
That's a good takeaway there. I would agree. Jake.
We're still going to cover the sport. We're always going to do our conference previews and do all that during the off season. But I think preseason expectations are becoming more and more extinct. For example, last year's Florida State team and now this year's version of the Clemson team, it is now proven that we really have zero idea what this looks like when we are covering a team in the middle of the summer anymore because of the transfer portal and the lack thereof. Clemson proves that, all this returning production, NFL talent, we're not going to hit the portal. We have a ton of continuity. This team's very connected. They suck. Last year, Florida State totally revamps, bunch of 4-star transfers. They go 2-10. Like, we really just have no idea anymore. And the parity is at an all-time high. And I think that's actually a good thing. I really do. I think that gives a lot more shocking results for us each and every single year. And I think it makes this sport a lot more competitive than your teams who can just straight up get away with paying, or, vice versa. Your big time programs just aren't as dominant as they used to be.
I like that. It's a fair assessment. If you go back, I think we have a men of character. We're men of character, so we'll leave it out there. But we definitely do have a video after the ACC preview that says, "Can anyone stop Clemson?"
Yep, still everybody. A separate clip is like a separate 10-minute clip.
End up.
Clemson's to lose.
Yeah, that might just be our full
wackety sacks.
We're just gonna repost that video. That definitely exists. So it's on us too.
We're not deleting it. It'll stay up there.
No, men of character. Reese, your biggest takeaway.
You talked about Indiana as well too, but I just think Mike Shanahan, if there's somebody who's going to be looking for a new head coach here in the next this year or whatever, if this guy's doing this with Mendoza this year and Curtis Rourke last year, like this guy might be able to get picked away at some big time SEC or Big Ten school here. Like, not saying Indiana isn't the end all be all for this guy, but I imagine this isn't like where you want to end up. But like Mendoza had 2 incomplete passes. He was 21 of 23 for 500 or for I almost said 500 for 5 touchdowns and 267. And then they ran the ball extremely well too. So like this is a guy who, with whatever you give him, he has proven to be a successful offensive coordinator. So I think he's going to be a guy who's going to get plucked for a big school here, whether it be this year or the year after that, because he's been doing well so far.
I like that, because you talk about Curtis Rourke last year. If you would have had him in the Heisman conversation, people would have been like, who in the hell are you talking about? And then Mendoza, they got a little bit of coverage last year when game day went to Berkeley, but then everybody kind of forgot that he went over to Indiana. And now here we come again. Here comes a Heisman Indiana quarterback talk. So you're definitely not wrong on that. My one big takeaway from the weekend is, gentlemen, we got to address the fact that I took Utah. The majority of the people on the show took Utah. Texas Tech beat them 34-10. Granted, the game was much closer than what the score reflected at the end, but I have to get over my Texas Tech PTSD from the last 3 years. And on this show, I have hyped them up in the preseason. They've had some big injury or just underperformed, and they don't finish where they should. This team, I got to get a little bit more credit. I can't take all the hype off of the Utah train and Dampierre and be like, it's a $30 million roster. We talk about it. Now I got to pick things like it's a $30 million roster, because that's what it is. So my biggest takeaway is I'm done picking against Texas Tech for the rest of the year, because I know who they got, who they're going to be, and what they paid for. And I shame on myself last week, basically, is my takeaway. All right, that's week 4. We got a lot to cover in week 5, so that one's a little bit shorter. But we do want to have one discussion point before we go on to the week 5 previews. And this one comes from Jake. Jake, talk a little bit about the people, because this is the time of year where you get into a lot of conversations of, hey, this guy, get him out of here. Or we're not scoring at a 35% clip at 35 points a game, or an 80% clip in the red zone. Get that OC out of here. How do you feel about firings this point in the season, Jake?
Yeah, I will say that I think JP brought this conversation up. He wants me to just lay it all out there and throw it out there for you guys.
You're a passionate guy.
I've been beating the drum all year. And as we kind of close this chapter in September, we're moving to October, where I do think you can start to enter firing season. But now we have had 3 Power 4 coaches all be fired before the end of September. And guys, we still have 1 week left. And there's some results this weekend where we could see some more coaches being fired. It's still very much out there. Personally, for me, I just don't see the point in doing it this early in the season. I mean, you are completely tanking on the season, the fan base, and basically any profit that you're trying to make, if you're even an athletic department trying to generate money. First of all, if you want to go back to the Mike Gundy situation, you could probably throw Brent Pry in this one too. If you're an athletic director, you have nobody to blame but yourself, because this should have been taken care of last year. The fact that both of those two had jobs coming back this year seems a little bit ridiculous. For Brent Pry, you gave him one more shot. Okay, fine. Then let him play throughout the year. They lost to an Old Dominion team who, guys, very well could be a top 5 team in the G5 right now and could be that G5 representative. It plays into the fact that it feels a little overreactionary. Players can jump in the portal right away. You're going to lose guys. Oklahoma State's already losing commits in the middle of September. A 4-star running back is gone. Like, you are completely punting on your roster and your team moving forward, and you still have to play for 2 more months. You might be out on a bowl game, but you're basically giving up. I don't see Virginia Tech or Oklahoma State upsetting anybody the rest of the year. It could be 2-10, 3-9, 4-8 kind of seasons. Like, you are just completely giving up. And here's the problem that I have. If you're firing these coaches super early in September because you're trying to get ahead on a new candidate, let's be honest, guys. Does a school like Virginia Tech or Oklahoma State really have the leading edge to getting a coach? Like, if Sam Pittman goes and gets fired at Arkansas, or if Billy Napier gets fired at Florida in November, those 2 programs are going to be able to pluck any coaching candidate that you want, and you were 2 months ahead of the curve. You're not getting Eric Morris in North Texas to just be like, we're 4-0. God, I really want that Oklahoma State job. See you guys. Good luck the rest of the season. Like, these coaches are going to play it out the rest of the year. And so your big-time SEC programs are going to be able to pluck your coaching candidates if they want to anyways. So I don't really see what that – like, the Bruce Arians rumors at Virginia Tech right now is like, really? Like, that's our guy right now? Has Bill Belichick not proven that this – I don't know if this 70-year-old NFL guy thing is working.
Go get BA.
And the thing is, too, like, your buyouts are just getting bigger and bigger, and you get a program like Oklahoma State. Listen, I don't know what keeping around Gundy would have done for you for the rest of the year. I strictly don't have an answer for you, but now you're $15 million in the hole because you have to buy him out, and now you got to go find somebody else and pay them too. So are you these programs are going to do these buyouts, and you just better be – you're going to put yourself in situations where you're going to have to maybe increase student fees to get that money for your athletic department. You're going to have to beg your donors for more. Hey, we suck, but hey, we fired this guy. Can you give us more money? It's just very unfulfilling promises. And the last thing I would say too is that programs, they take time to develop. And a coach, I understand like Gundy was an old coach not willing to adapt, but I'm still of the thought that I think a coach deserves at least 3 or 4 years. I really do. I think firing Deshaun Foster this year, again, I just think it does nothing. It's another buyout, and it's like, okay, now what, UCLA? Like, where are you at now? They've started playing good football for Foster at the end of October, the beginning of November. Like, things take time. These rosters are all brand new every year, and we're just cutting the cord on it right in the middle of September. So feels a little overreactionary, and I don't. My main point is I don't think it pushes you any farther progressively to finding that superstar candidate when you're actually going to look for him in November or December.
I think you made a great point about the revenue loss that happens like in the stadium, because you're not going to draw a full crowd after you fire a coach immediately, or when it comes week 11 and you're playing some team and you're 3-7 and all of a sudden it's cold outside. Like, all that revenue loss is also part of the revenue that would then pay for your new coach. And if you want a top prospect and that's why you're firing a coach early, all of a sudden that money becomes a little bit steeper when somebody rolls through the door. So I think you nailed it on assets. Reese, JP, any agreements, disagreements from Jake's points?
I think just like playing devil's advocate, like if somebody or boosters or people giving you money want a guy out, you got to get rid of them or they will stop giving you money. So like, it doesn't matter that at that point that you're losing money by people not showing up or whatever. Like, you're not getting the millions and millions from single donors that you would usually get. Like, they are in most cases probably have a little bit of a say saying, hey, here's X amount. Like, let's get them out. We watched Texas Tech literally show off the check that got Jimbo Fisher out of town. I understand that not everybody has oil money and A&M money, but they literally said, hey, like it was basically like they stood in front of you, looked you straight in the eyes and said, I'm going to fire you. I don't care how much it costs to the world. Like, that's what these donors are doing behind closed doors. I think like doing it before, and I don't know if any ADs think about it this way, but there is this moral aspect almost where like, if you wait till week 6, 7, just to wait till week 6, 7, some of these kids lose a year that they could have kept. And then like, it kind of becomes like, I understand that like if a coach is usually fired week 7, 8, it's not because they were doing that. But if it ever came out that was ever an option or a reason, like that'll do more detriment and more issue. I don't even know what the word I'm looking for. Please help.
Can I say too? You say the Texas A&M money and stuff like that. There are some programs that are able to just cut the cord and pay those buyouts. You look at think of the 3 teams that have fired their coach this year: UCLA, Virginia Tech, Oklahoma State. I don't think any of those programs really have that much extra money to pay those buyouts right now. Oklahoma State and UCLA, I know for a fact, don't have that money. Virginia Tech,
they just turned it up. You see that?
So they're supposed to by 29 or whatever.
Good. What are they doing?
About that $200 million. They ramped up their football spend and athletic spend by like 240 some million, and it's X amount per year till 2029, right, Reese? Is that what you said?
Yeah, you also got to do that to try to incentivize somebody to come to your school too. Like, you have to do that.
Absolutely.
Good fan base. They need it. Let's leave that
Good fan
conversation there. We will talk about fired coaches. I'm sure we might even have to do a separate video for that off of a live show because they're going to keep coming. There's already 3 Power 4 coaches in the can. All right, let's go to week 5. Let's do these previews. We got 4 marquee matchups. We're going to start with our marquee matchup of the week, the main one we're going to focus on. The idea behind this one is no college game day there, no big noon kickoff. Maybe CBS is trying to duck fart out a pregame show that was horrible last week. So we're going to cover this as our marquee matchup, a little bit enhanced presentation. We're going to cover the game more in-depthly. We're going to do TCU and Arizona State this week. Let's talk about the Big 12. These previews are presented by our great partner at Frost Buddy. JP, where should they hop Frost Buddy at? See if he's got it in him tonight.
FrostBuddy.com /
/
PTFS / sorry, I don't know the difference between the forward
slash.
It's a / PTFS. They have some of the cooler stuff I've seen. They have like ones you could leave in your car for like a fountain soda or something like that on a long drive. They have the actual koozies that fit just about every can humanly possible. By the way, there's way too many can sizes, but they have it for you in one singular one. I don't have to carry 4 different koozies. I got one from Frost Buddy. Probably every school you could ever imagine on it. I've looked through there, tried to list them all off, more than I can even count high enough. So check them out, frostbuddy.com / PTFS. Let them know we sent you.
All right. Make sure you shop that link, frostbuddy.com / PTFS, so they know we sent you. Shout out Frost Buddy. All right, let's go into this game, gentlemen. TCU, Arizona State. Arizona State, I think that line's floating around 3 now, but 2.5 is what I saw in, what is it? Is it Tempe, right?
Tempe.
Phoenix.
It's in
Tempe.
Tempe.
Okay, I'm right.
It's Tempe.
In Tempe, off the hill, big-time matchup. Stadium's going to be rocking. Let's break it down from the top. Jake, you're the Big 12 guy. Do it for us. Hey, de facto Forks. Throwback.
Yeah,
I need
this this is going to be one of the better Big 12 games of the year. Not that TCU hasn't been tested this year, because clearly SMU and North Carolina, you're playing 2 Power 4 teams out of conference, but this feels like the truest test to find out if this TCU team is a legitimate Big 12 contender. You take down this team and you're easily top 4, top 3 within the conference. Now, this one should be a lot of fun. Eric McAllister and the Jordan Tyson show, both of 2 of the best receivers in college football on either side, are going to make a ton of plays, and this is going to be a lot of fun. I'm still skeptical if TCU can run the football. I think Arizona State's defensive line is actually pretty solid. I would probably put it up there with the upper half of the Big 12. And last week, they didn't really get it going that well against an SMU defense who's way much below par than they were last year. And now I could say, yeah, you threw it around a bunch. McAllister had 250 yards. That's great. But that's not going to happen this week. I think Arizona State's secondary is actually really, really good, and it doesn't get talked about enough. The one thing I'd say about the other side of it is Leavitt's ability to throw the football has not impressed me that much this year. I think he's kind of regressed a little bit, but what he's done extremely well is his ability to improvise and scramble might be one of the best in college football. And TCU's defense is really aggressive. They're going to blitz, and that might just be an opportunity for Sam Leavitt to create plays with his legs that I'm really excited for. Arizona State's got to convert better in the red zone. You got bailed out by was it Bryson Washington last week? Or no, it was Josh Cameron's wide receiver at Baylor, one of the best in the conference, fumbled it twice, and then you only converted field goals out of it. So if Arizona State's going to win, they got to be better in the red zone.
I like that. I kind of had a lot of similar points, but we got to give the flowers to both quarterbacks here. These are probably 2 of the more athletic, mobile quarterbacks in the country, and they're both young. They've got a lot in front of them, high ceilings on both of them. I agree with you, Jake. I haven't been impressed with Leavitt's arm. And on the flip side, we've all talked about Hoover through the offseason and what he can do throwing the football, and he's got the weapons to do it. I think when it comes down to, people don't realize, and they kind of had this assumption after last year with Cam Scadaboo, Arizona State still running the football a shitload, gentlemen. 46 times a game. And granted, that's a little inflated with Leavitt getting outside the pocket and using his legs on throwing plays, but they're still running the ball a lot, like significantly more than they're throwing it. I think they understand Leavitt's throwing ability too. Up front, TCU's defensive front has been really good. So if they can get home a few times and hit Levitt, I really like the situation TCU can set up for their offense, letting Hoover sling it around. We've seen that Arizona State secondary. While Jake, you may think they're better than given credit for, but we've seen the holes in it. I mean, if Blake Shapen's carving you up, he doesn't do that to a lot of teams. So there are holes there that Hoover can find. But on the flip side, Hoover's also thrown a few balls this year, and including last week in that SMU matchup, that were a little sketchy. That could go the other way here with a play here and there. So if Arizona State's going to take the advantage on the defensive side, really step up in the secondary, they're going to have to pick the ball off a few times because TCU is going to sling it around. Also going to give flowers, Jeremy Payne out of the backfield for TCU. Maybe not running the ball a ton, but in the throwing game, he's elusive and he's big time. And he's going to be a lot of what TCU wants to do on the road in this spot. I just think when it comes down to it, the secondary of Arizona State's too big of a worry for me. And up front, TCU is not given enough credit. I almost give them the edge when it comes to defensive lines in this matchup, just because of the way they've played. They've limited the run so well. I think they're going to force Sam Levitt to throw it. So I kind of lean in Frogs, but I want to hear the other gentleman, JP.
Yeah. What's the real difference between what Baylor's running offense and schematically play calling to what TCU's doing? I would argue not very much. A really good quarterback with pretty darn good receivers with a minimal run game and a questionable offensive line in some spots. I think that's important to note because I still kind of have a couple questions about Arizona State's defense. I feel like they've gotten better and they still look solid. And when you play a guy that's going to sling it 45, 50 times a game, you're going to give up a couple. I think the one at Mississippi State was just a complete bust. That ball they scored on late, like that's just getting beat on a play call defensively and then one-on-one, like we don't know what planet we're on guarding that football. They really got better, I felt, as the game went on last week, shutting things down and making it tougher on Sawyer Robertson. Hoover to me what was he like? He had to been like 54% through the air last week. Like he wasn't elite, but he wasn't bad. Like they're going to put the game on his shoulders. He's going to have to go do it. I feel like Arizona State's gaining a lot of confidence consistently. I feel like they're getting to a point where they really feel like their old selves. They needed a kind of like cover Jesus moment after that loss in Starkville. Defensively, their secondary, like I said, I don't think it's bad, Jake. I think you have a point saying that like they're better than people think. They have a real shot to be solid. I still need to see something. Give me another week of seeing a really good quarterback and passing attack. I worry about them just making plays consistently against this offense. I don't think TCU is going to continue to run the football super well. I think they're going to bail out on it if they get down, which is like the worst possible case scenario for these guys. In Arizona State, like they haven't had really a run game pop either. Dude, maybe TCU just has the front that can kind of slow it down and let guys run around and make plays.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a really good one because I don't think whoever loses this has, feels like they have an outside shot at a Big 12 title. I feel like Arizona State and TCU are still top third teams within this conference.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how it goes. I don't know if you could draw a better Big 12 matchup up.
I like that point about the defensive fronts because going back to mine really quickly, right now, Arizona State, even without Scattaboo people, he's gone. He's good for the Giants, but 225 yards a game on the ground, Arizona State's putting up. TCU, nobody knows this, only giving up 72 yards a game on the ground. Something's got to give. Reese, what do you think?
Yeah, I think a switch offense is going to be able to capitalize and get 6 and not have to go get 3. You talk about Hoover. Hoover's already got 1,000 yards over the year, and Levitt's already got 750 yards through the year. But I think TCU defensively, I think you had a good point talking about up front. But I think in the backfield, you just got to identify wherever Tyson's at and give him some extra help wherever that guy is guarding him because you got to limit the one-on-ones because we watched that game in that sports book. Levitt's looking for him and primarily only him. He's got 357 of his 750 yards. Like it's 48% of the total yards. So like if you are his defense, you're his defense coordinator, I believe it's Avalos, you are finding Tyson and you're getting your best back on him or you're giving him some help over the top and you're not going to limit the ability of him to beat guys one-on-one. Because you talk about Levitt's able to keep plays alive with his legs. But when he does keep plays alive with his legs, that's when guys get busted coverages. But it's also when Levitt's been prone to make mistakes. He got 3 interceptions so far this year as well, too. But then you go on the other side of the ball. Arizona State's defensive back, you talk about this Parksy. I think they're going to have their hands full trying to cover McAllister, Dwyer, and then Barnes in the backfield as well. I just think there's going to be too many weapons. Hoover's a hell of a quarterback. You talk about he throws up kind of some of those sketchy balls, but he's a hell of a quarterback, man. He has shown that he can be a gamer and he can be a baller in these spots. So I just lean the edge there. I love to help a quarterback, but I lean Hoover in this spot just because of the weapons I think he has. He's able to spread out a little bit more.
All right, let's do it. Let's go to picks in our marquee matchup. We're going to go JP first. JP, give us the pick. Arizona State's the favorite, but who you got winning this one?
Yeah, I think going back to this, I think it's kind of ditto. Like, how does Arizona State cover McAllister? It's the same concept. He gets majority of the targets and a lot of the looks. Two things for me on this one. I think Arizona State will have a better luck running the football and finding a way to supplement the pass game. And I made the point earlier, I think TCU is super similar to Baylor, a team they just saw last week. Now you come back home, you got a little more confidence in you. I like Sparky. Close, but I think it's going to be a ton of fun.
All right, JP is on Arizona State. Gentlemen, I really had to sway my options here because I gave you both points, and Arizona State's a tested team, and anybody returning on that roster won a Big 12, right? I think TCU has the weapons to get this done on the road. I really do. I think that they're going to take advantage of a secondary that's question marks. I mean, we've said it 1,000 times through this preview alone, has killed them, especially in big games. On the road, Mississippi State, not only was that last touchdown blown coverage, the first touchdown of the game, almost on one of the first drives was complete blown coverage off a screenplay. I really like TCU in this spot. I think they're going to put up a ton of points with that secondary, and I think the run game is going to shut what Arizona State wants to do down, force Leavitt into some bad situations, throw a couple of picks trying to get the ball to Tyson. Like Reese said, I like TCU on the road here to get it done. 38-28. That's high scoring, but it's just Big 12 football. Jake, what do you think? Oh, I'm sorry, Reese. Sorry, Reese.
I was going to say, you're going to let me go the last one, huh?
Yeah. You got to go last. You're the Big 12
guy.
Oh,
yeah, shapes a shock here. But yeah, no, I just talked about this point too. I just think there's way too much going on for TCU. You talk about McAllister, you talk about Dwyer. Arizona State's going to have to figure out where those guys are at, but you can't cover two of them at the same time, especially if Hoover's going to be able to get those balls to those guys, especially if they're running crossers. Like they were successful with that against SMU last week. They're able to make guys miss. I think TCU is going to go in there. I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair, just like you guys will have so far. But I got them winning outright. I just think Hoover, he's your Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year. I just think he's going to be too much for this Arizona State defense to figure out. So give me the Frogs on the road in this situation.
All right, 2 on TCU. Which way is Jake going to go? Are you going to ride with the Big 12 defending champs, or are you going to give Hoover and the Young Bucks at TCU the edge?
I kind of side with JP here, where I liked how Arizona State got Baylor last week. I think that's a very similar look to what TCU is going to show, and I think actually Baylor might even have some better skill players than TCU does. So TCU or Arizona State's going to have to create turnovers. They're going to have to make it ugly. I actually think this is more low scoring than what you guys got. I do like Arizona State in this situation. I just have not taken that Mississippi State game. I've just taken it with a grain of salt. And that first half was kind of an anomaly. And I think Raleek Brown has just been really good running the football. He's not Cam Scatterbo by any means, but he is a serviceable Big 12 running back, and he seems to be one of the better backs in the Big 12 right now. So pair that up with Leavitt's legs, and I like this team at home.
All right, we got a lot of points on the board, even for that low-scoring game, Jake. 28-24. There's some touchdowns.
2 points lower than what I said.
Yeah, we're gonna.
I think that's the under.
Lower.
I think that's the under.
But that is Arizona State as the favorite. We got 2 dog picks with Reese and I on the Horned Frogs. That is our marquee matchup and a big-time one in the Big 12. So make sure you check that one out. That is Friday night, people. We should have mentioned that way early. That is a big-time Friday game. So enjoy your weekend and kick it off with that Big 12 matchup. All right, moving down the line, let's go over to the SEC. Talk about one of the best games, I don't want to say in college football history, but it felt like it last year. Georgia, Alabama, the rematch, this time in Athens. The Dogs are a 2.5-point favorite, which the way people have been talking about Alabama's got to feel like nothing, right? Break it down for us from the top. JP, you first.
Yeah, I think what you need to look at here is a little bit more different than what we've looked at this game in the past with. You've looked at it through a lens of probably line of scrimmage. You've looked at it through a lens of how good can the run game be. You're looking at quarterbacks who you're just hoping can hit open guys and just not turn it over, be game managers. I don't see it really that way this year. I think Tennessee found some things in the defensive secondary for Georgia to kind of pick on. Now, I really like Tennessee's wide receiver room. Alabama's got a pretty darn good one too. It's not one to really just bat your eyes at. The outside of Ryan Williams, I don't even think he's the best pass catcher they've had to this point this year. He's had a drop problem earlier in the year, kind of had a breakout a couple weeks ago. Don't think that like Ty Simpson in 1 week at Florida State is the definition of who he is as a quarterback. The guy can sling it. He's gotten a lot better. I shout out the Film Guide Network. I actually tuned into some of his stuff and kind of how he's operating. They're saying just better and better Simpson's gotten every week. And it's not just things like delivering the ball on time and making, one read and it's on the spot. Like he is manipulating defenses. He is making the checks he needs to make on by himself. And I think that's super important. Stockton had a hell of a day in Knoxville, and I don't think that goes without being said. And nothing again to just like wave your hands at and say, oh, well, like bad Tennessee defense. That Tennessee defense is really good. Yes, they were missing a couple pieces of that secondary, but you don't throw footballs like he did late in that one to Humphreys unless you have the ability to win football games in the SEC. I think him and his legs in the run game for Georgia is what keeps them in this thing, because Alabama's secondary is different level good. And I think there's some gettable spots on the secondary for Alabama. If you can just kind of make the run game worry about it. If you're getting 4.5, 5 yards a pop and just making them respect it, now Stockton can be better with his arm and going to get to guys. I worry about the Georgia receivers separating from this secondary more so than they did at Knoxville, right? Frazier and Bowens, take some pressure off the guy. Stockton's going to be able to run too. I think that's the opportunity for Georgia to really work things. And then you kind of look at how things are kind of handled from a coaching perspective. Who's better at getting a team ready to go when it feels like, you might be home favorites, but everybody kind of likes the other team in this spot. Kirby Smart is one of the best in the world at this kind of thing. He doesn't lose football games like this. That's why they're a short favorite. It's a tough one. If you looked at this one, like I've gone back and forth 15,000 times, I feel like talking about it. I think Stockton's going to be really good. I feel like Simpson's going to have a really good day as well. Maybe Georgia just has too much on the defensive front, and it's really tough on Simpson, even if he's got guys open, because the offensive line for Alabama looks like kind of lost at times. Proctor has had some real problems to start the year, like on just missed assignments and not being where he's supposed to be. And then you look at on the Georgia offensive line, they got to deal with an unreal front in Alabama. So going to be interesting. I think it's going to be lower scoring, but who knows? I mean, I feel like we've tried lower scoring with Tennessee, Georgia. Wrong. Tried some low scoring with other games throughout the year and they've gone way over. So should be a ton of fun. You mark this one down as appointment television.
I think when you look at this game, and I have had a problem with it so far this college football season, where it's a little bit of recency bias in your mind, where you're thinking of Georgia going on the road and beating Tennessee, and you're like, oh, let's think about all the way back to week 1. And when we found out Florida State has a pulse this year against this Alabama team, and everybody wants to write off Kalen DeBoer. Well, Alabama really hasn't run into anybody exceptionally good, but they took care of business against a bad Wisconsin team. And it's not nothing to go and play those teams that you're supposed to beat and handle business like Alabama has. It's still a confidence builder, right? You fit into the schemes well, you try different things, you learn a little bit about your depth. So I do think this game will be closer than what you would automatically think, thinking back to what happened to Alabama in week 1. However, the home field advantage in this situation, too much to handle in my mind. I think even if Georgia gets out early and makes their mistakes, let's say Gunner throws a couple of picks in the first quarter and Alabama gets up 21-7. Another game that we just watched Georgia play, that exact thing happened. And I've watched it, and this is my problem in college football early this season. I've gotten too early in these games. North Texas Army last week, 21-0. I'm like, God, were we just wrong? Like, that line was bad. This game's over. That's not how Kirby operates. That's not how either of these coaches operate. So even if one team jumps on top, I do think the other will battle back. But just because the home field advantage, I think Georgia defensively will force a couple of turnovers because Simpson is a guy that has been running for his life in some bigger spots this year. I think the dogs at home give me just a better feeling of myself. I can sleep better at night knowing I took Georgia at home as a short favorite over Alabama after the loss they took last year in a revenge spot. I can sleep well at night. What do you think, Reese?
Yeah, I love that point about the game last year and this year just being you get it at home. Stockton, and the thing about just Georgia team, you're not used to them going on the road and winning a shootout like they did against Tennessee. So like it just shows the adaptability this team has to win football games. So they do get down. They don't give a shit. They're going to go find a way to compete and go win a football game. Stockton's been a stud. Branch was a huge get in the portal for these guys. He's a versatile weapon on that offense. He's going to beat you over top, or he's going to go catch a crosser and go make some guys miss. And he's just going to be a huge part of this game too. And then Stockton's also been pretty solid running the football too. You got Frazier and Phillips in the backfield as well. Who have been a solid 1-2 punch. If they're able to run the ball and then Stockton can be able to use his arm, that Alabama front, yes, is very strong, but I just think you talk about getting this one at home, like you just had, Parksy. It's going to be, I'm going to feel better at night taking Kirby Smart at home, especially with this little of a line. I think too, Glenn Schumann and Kirby Smart, two great defensive minds. Ty Simpson struggled week 1. Yes, he's looked better, but yeah, this is a test. You're going on the road to Athens. Like they are going to be up and ready for this game. And so I just think he's going to have a tough start of it. And if he's going to be slow to start, I like the dogs in the spot.
Jake.
Yeah, I think the casual take would be to just throw the quarterbacks out there and say, which one's going to mess up in this game. And I just don't think that's the case. I think both of these quarterbacks are going to be ready to go. I really like both of them in this spot. And I'm glad
just to clarify, you're not saying we're casual takes. We said quarterbacks were going to make mistakes, but we gave other points.
No, I mean to break the game. No, I'm not referring to you.
All right.
Saying when you're talking about it, when you're talking about this game and people are going to be like, well, I don't think Stockton's used to the situation. Well, this is Ty Simpson's second big, game in his career. I just think it's a bad take because I think really what you need to look at is the line of scrimmage. And JP kind of highlighted a little bit. So I'm not going to go into it too much, but I think Georgia has the defensive line, but we just haven't seen the production. And at the same time, like Alabama's offensive line got absolutely bullied. Like there were some sophomores giving Caden Proctor problems in Tallahassee, but this one doesn't feel like a bad matchup for me. If you're Alabama, like if I'm an Alabama fan, I think they can match up with this Georgia team fairly well. Georgia runs the ball really well, and that's what gave Alabama a lot of problems, obviously. But Thomas Castellanos is a night and days difference type of player than Gunnar Stockton is. And I like Gunnar Stockton, but what they do with that Gus Malzahn offense is nothing like what they see in Georgia. And I think Alabama can stay in front of this Georgia offense, but I do think it's going to be a fantastic game. And it's this line it's sitting there for a reason.
Yeah, I think that would be the casual take in my mind is people would look at this and be like, Alabama sucks. Last time I heard about them, they were getting beat by Florida State, and Georgia just beat Tennessee. Like, give me the dog. So I wouldn't be shocked if it comes Saturday morning and the Sharps jump all over this, and all of a sudden we're looking at a pick 'em. But it's definitely a possible scenario we've seen in college football before. So let's go to picks on this one, gentlemen. Who do you got? Georgia on the road between the hedges, Alabama, or the dogs? JP.
I muted myself. I thought I was on mute. Yeah.
He's back. We're good.
I've been landing on Alabama more than I've landed on Georgia this week. So I'll take Alabama here and the 2.5. I just think that there's something extra here that we can get after them a little bit through the air. And I think Stockton's going to make plays with his legs. I think Georgia will have some success getting to Simpson a little bit. But I worry about the Georgia receivers continually separating and making play after play and running the football really well. So I'll take Alabama.
In my mind, although I just called people casuals if they're looking at that line, it's just 3, right? Like if I think Georgia's going to win the football game, I got to take Georgia.
Who's Georgia's kryptonite been the last X amount of years?
Alabama.
Nick Saban.
They sure have.
No, and Kalen DeBoer.
Yeah, they lost him too. I just think between the hedges and the revenge spot, I got to sleep better taking the dogs. And I think they can win it. Even if it's by a field goal and the line's better, I think they win it by 2 touchdowns off the top of my head. But maybe it's closer to the line, but I got to take the dogs. Jake, maybe you're going a different direction. I'll go to Reese because I think I know who he's taking.
I was going to say, I just think, too, looking at Alabama in that Florida State game, their top rusher had 31 yards. I think Georgia sees that, and they're like, if we can shut down the run game, make Simpson try to beat us with his arm, I think that's kind of your blueprint to try to be successful in this game. So, like you said, Kirby Smart at home, give me the dogs.
Jacob.
It's a good point. Yeah, it's a good point, Reese. I thought I was going to be the Lone Ranger on this one. Listen, Alabama was one of the lone teams that had a ton of success on Georgia last year, creating the explosive plays. And we've already seen in one competent opponent, Georgia is very susceptible to giving up the explosive plays against Tennessee. And I think Ryan Williams and Jeremy Bernard are better receivers than I can't even remember who we got. Brazel at Tennessee. Who's the other one? I feel like I'm forgetting one more guy. It's besides the point. So yeah, I will take Alabama in this one. I think it's a great Kalen DeBoer bounce back, and that lady who called him out on the news is just going to be sitting in her chair, shaking her head.
All right, there it is. 2 on Bama, 2 on Georgia. Another 2-2 split on the board off Play the Fight song. So we will see how that one goes come Saturday morning for our ATS boards, which you can follow us at Play the Fight Pod on X or any platform out there to follow along with those as we go. Don't worry, the betting segment is still coming up at the end. All right. We got a guy, Dylan, sipping a Chong. What did he say that was? I couldn't even read it.
It's a Barntown beer. It's good stuff.
Barntown beer. Yeah, I'm from the city, folks. I'm not a part of that. Let's stay in the SEC. Let's stay in the SEC. Let's go to Ole Miss. Let's talk about this team who took it to our G5 beautiful Tulane Green Wave last week, and LSU. Brian Kelly's squad. This one's going to be a hell of a matchup with a point spread. Basically, I had to pick them in favor of the home team right now. What are we thinking on this one, gentlemen? Let's go Reese first.
Yeah, you named Chambliss as a starter today, I believe. So you're confident with that. Ole Miss going forward. Simmons has been turnover prone, so I think that's a big thing for it. Chambliss can run the ball extremely well too. So I think this game to me is what is Blake Baker and that defense going to be able to do? They've looked solid so far. That week 1 win isn't looking as solid as it was, but they're still giving up less than 10 points a game too. And this pass defense has been pretty solid. They're 61st in the country overall, pretty middle of the pack, but they're giving up 324 yards a game through the air too. So Blake Baker, I think you got to dial up some pressure, get Chambliss uncomfortable. You're on the road in this one too, so you got to be able to make noise early on. Otherwise, if you're going to let Ole Miss settle in and let Kiffin and his crew do what they want to do, they're going to try to extend plays. They're going to make you uncomfortable. And then the thing about too is the Ole Miss offense. They got 3 guys with over 200 yards receiving already too, and Wallace leading the way with over 340. They run the ball extremely well too, like I mentioned. Lacey's got 350 yards, and Chambliss has got almost 200 yards just himself. He's been playing for 2 games too. So Ole Miss offensively, they're able to schematically getting around to his guys. Having Lane Kiffin as your head coach, if it's your first time being a quarterback at a big school, definitely helps. But I think it's going to be up to Blake Baker and like what he wants to do. Getting paid a lot of money over there to coach some defense. So this is a spot where if they want to try to win this football game, you can't let Ole Miss score more than 30 points. I think it's just going to be an uphill battle if you're trying to do that. So you got to get turnovers. You got to get big stops. You got to make Chambliss go 3rd and long situations. So I think that's what LSU's got to try to do if they're going to win this game.
I like those points because when I think back of LSU this season, what I've seen from especially the offense side of the ball, right? We've seen the hype. We've heard the hype. We've given out the hype with Nussmeier coming back in that offense and all the experience they had. I don't know if we've seen it yet, gentlemen. I don't know if I've seen anything or explosive enough from this offense to be like, oh man, I don't know if anybody can stop them. But the defense has been kind of the star of the show for me in my mind for LSU. So they've got to show out this week. I think Nussmeier's got to take a step forward. But good Lord, we got to see some more out of this LSU offense and their production because they're going against an Ole Miss pass defense that's been pretty sturdy. That's kind of where, if you look at where these teams have been throughout the season, granted, Ole Miss is a little less battle-tested if you want to go that route, but Tulane's a damn good football team, and Ole Miss went right at them and took care of business at home. I think being at home is a big deal, obviously, as it always is in college football, but I think Ole Miss can get it done just because of what I've seen from LSU's offense. And on the flip side of things, LSU's pass defense on that defense that's been playing well is going against one of the best passing attacks in college football at the moment. Changing quarterbacks helps LSU side of things. The announcement, Lane Kiffin's daughter dating Whit Weeks, big news, going to be a storyline in the game. Maybe
there it is.
Ole Miss will get after him a little bit more this week to try and send a message on behalf of the Kiffin family. But boys, what a big time matchup. And really, in my mind, it's going to either make or break the fan base this year on Brian Kelly. Because we were talking about a guy who maybe the LSU fan base doesn't love entirely and the country pretty much hates him. If you lose this one, you're going to get a lot of people having those stupid message board conversations in my mind. What do you think, JP?
Let's have one hell of a day watching Lane Kiffin cook up some stuff against one of the better defensive coordinators in the game in Baker. One thing to pay attention to here is LSU's been stout defensively. This Ole
More
Miss
than people
team
know.
has been pretty good offensively, but it's been schemed pass concepts that have gotten their receivers the football. That's just what Lane Kiffin does. Like, he gets guys wide ass open. Is there a world where you're watching Lane Kiffin in the run game? Because this is it's been a really good run game for a long time. And the way he has and concepts things and his blocking patterns are a little more unique to Ole Miss than anywhere else. Is there a world where LSU just kind of stifles that, slows it down? They make Chambliss kind of stay in the pocket a little more, and they get pressured because LSU has guys that can get pressure on you.
Yeah.
Flip it to the other side. LSU's ran for, in between the Clemson and the Florida game, less than 3.5 yards a carry. But here's the problem, right? You can struggle throwing, like, being downhill, like completely blowing things up. But if a team can't tackle you, it doesn't quite matter. Because I don't know if you guys watch this Ole Miss team play defense, but it's been brutal. I think Arkansas can score on just about anybody, but that's some of the worst tackling I've seen. So here's a chance for LSU to get that run game humming a little bit, give Nussmeier a little help. Suspect offensive line, doesn't matter if the defensive line is not great either. So it's gonna be tough. And then how does LSU respond to getting hit in the face a couple of times? Because Lane Kiffin's got a couple up his sleeve that are gonna stun you. So where's the response? How do we respond? And what does Brian Kelly have ready for his team?
Jake?
I should have taken my advice last week when we were looking at Utah. We're like, well, who's Utah played? Like, look at their schedule now. UCLA is terrible. And I think I might be doing the same thing this week. Like, are we sure LSU's wins have really stacked up well? Like, I know you guys have given praise to the defense, and it is dramatically improved from last year and the last couple of years. Don't get me wrong. But have they not played two of the most inept Power 4 offenses and quarterbacks in college football up to this point? Like,
it's a good point.
Like, DJ Lagway doesn't know his left,
5 picks.
His left from his right hand. And Cade Klubnik he's Cade Klubnik. So the anomaly.
You could flip that and say who Chambliss had to play.
You're right, but I trust that.
Tulane.
I mean the stats kind of.
Tulane didn't look like Tulane last week.
It could be different. Like, do I trust Garrett Nussmeier in this offense right now, going up against an Arkansas and a Tulane team and looking that fast? On the other side, LSU couldn't score that much against Louisiana Tech. So
that game. Nobody
it's
talks
not
about
like
that.
So, like, I'm going to give it to Ole Miss and their ability to make explosive plays and create plays against the Tulane team when LSU's offense still looks slow and stagnant. So I just really think it's interesting. And I know Ole Miss's defense hasn't been great, but make this LSU team put together long drives. That's what they want to do. And they have this, they go and get Anderson and Brown, and they have all these other receivers. And it's just like, it hasn't been this Jaden Daniels, Brian Kelly passing attack that it was a couple of years ago. So I think things have to change. And I think this 1.5 is very intriguing.
Let me get us going for picks. I have never been bit in the ass taking Lane Kiffin in a big game. You're not going to find me picking the other way though this week. Give me Ole Miss at home, hotty toddy, big time game. Lane finally gets it done. JP.
Take LSU. I think this is just one of those spots that they figure it out, and I'm not totally convinced that Ole Miss is just going to be solid defensively. I think they're that bad in some spots.
75-65 final score. Now Reese.
Yeah, if you're going to give me a line this short, I don't think either one of these teams is going to blow each other out. But if you're going to be a line this short, I'm going to go with the Rebels at home. I think Kiffin is just going to trust Chambliss, and I think that offense is going to spread it out. Give me them in this situation. I like the home team.
Jake, another 2-2 split, or you riding 3-on-1?
As much as I would love to. There's nothing that this LSU team has proven to me so far that I believe they'll get. I don't know if they're good enough to stay in a game, and I don't know if they're good enough to win a shootout against this Ole Miss team. So, yeah, I'm going to take the Grove. And like you said, Parks, they haven't won big games. That Georgia win last year was huge for them at home. So I've seen it before. Has Lane Kiffin let me down? Sure. But we've seen him win big games before.
As long as he's not making – is it him? Who made the brisket? Sorry, sidebar. But who made the brisket? Was it Lincoln Riley or Lane Kiffin?
It was Lincoln Riley.
Sidebar, please.
Oh, my God. Arrest him. All right, let's keep it moving. Let's go back to the Big Ten. You got to cover Big Ten because you know what week it is. It's the Happy Valley Whiteout. And I just saw
second best whiteout this week.
Just released 20 minutes ago. They are beautiful. Might be an all-time uniform matchup here in an unbelievable atmosphere way up north. This game's going to be an absolute barn burner. People haven't talked about Oregon a lot. Penn State coming off a bye, played absolutely nobody. We'll learn if this is a national championship team or not under James Franklin. Let's break this one down from the top. Why doesn't Big Ten Jake do it for us?
Thank you. Thank you. I know the people just want to hear Big Ten Jake talk. They don't want to hear any of you guys talk either. Also, shout out, I'd say it for a third time on this podcast. This will be the second best whiteout on Saturday. So good for Happy Valley to enjoy this one and really take in their tradition. That's great.
For anybody who doesn't know,
the guy should
Iowa
tell you
State
not
is
to worry
also
about.
doing whiteout this week.
Oh no,
Iowa.
we are doing the whiteout, and Penn State's copying us. That's how this works.
You guys are wearing your all black uniforms again?
No, we do. We'll do the blackout at a different time. Georgia's also copying Iowa State. I'm pretty sure they're doing a blackout this weekend. Everybody just wants to be us. I don't know what the deal is. I think this one's really interesting. It's our first true look at both of these teams this year. Yes, I know Oregon State and Oklahoma State. Those were two really tough opponents that gave Oregon all they had.
Northwestern.
Northwestern. Thank you. Thanks for throwing that in there. This is going to be fascinating because this is a potential coming out party for either quarterback. And now I know, like, coming out party as in we figure out who Dante Moore is. Man. And this is a big game for the Drew Aller haters. This is a big game. They're gnawing at the bit. And I'll admit a little bit, I might be a part of that fan club. Not entirely, but I'm kind of interested to see how he can respond in this situation. Guys, this is an Oregon team that's lost once in the last 2 years, and the one team they lost to might be on an all-time list of talent. Like, that's how good that team might be, and that's how good Oregon has been and winning in dominating fashion. I think Oregon goes out and they spend in the portal just a little bit. They go and get the best offensive tackle in the country in the portal in Isaiah World, and it's built for situations like this when you're going against Danny Sutton and that entire Penn State defensive line. Oregon was the team that controlled Penn State this entire game in Indianapolis just half a year ago. Like, let's not forget, we know Penn State kind of scored points and they were able to stay within that game, but it's a lot easier to score points when an Oregon team's kind of just sitting on its heels because they were scoring at will. And I think this offense for Oregon, it might be just as good as last year's team. We just don't know, like, because we've seen Dylan Gabriel for 6 years and we've only seen Dante Moore for a sample serving of games at this point. I think that's what's holding everybody back on how good this offense can be. So I think it's fascinating, and they just have to go on the road and prove it.
All right. I like where you put it. I think the question marks around Dante Moore they're granted, but if you watch this Oregon offense, I think you're right, Jake. It hasn't skipped a beat from what they did with Dylan Gabriel. So Penn State's got their hands full. Obviously, the atmosphere is going to be massive as a part of this game, but we've also seen an Illinois team last year go in and this is a pretty competitive game. It wasn't like a whiteout blowout. And granted, that was calling for whiteout energy or whatever the hell they want to call it, as Bielema said. But this Penn State team, it's a benefit to be tested early in the year. And I'm not saying Oregon has been, but this Penn State team definitely hasn't been. I don't think they've trailed at any point throughout the season. And sometimes a little bit of I shouldn't say a little bit, a lot of bad things can happen if you find yourself behind early on a team that hasn't been trailing yet throughout the season. So I think there's a couple of storylines just because of the schedule and how much these teams have played, because Oregon played in a big rivalry game last week. Granted, Oregon State sucks, but like those things bring a team together. And I don't think I trust anybody more in college football to play up to a moment rather than underperform than a Dan Lanning coach team. So I like the Ducks on the road in this spot. I really do. I don't think they care how loud it is in that place. I think they were the most Big Ten ready team last year. They proved it by winning the damn conference. So I don't think Penn State and a Big Ten tradition will shy away from this. And I think Aller's going to make his mistakes. I mean, we've seen how slow a Penn State offense can operate against a good defense. And I think Oregon has a better one than giving credit for. JP.
This is an elite line of scrimmage football game. Two really good defensive fronts. Two really good offensive lines. Do you believe in Oregon's weapons and Knowles clamping them up and making that tough? Or do you believe in the receivers that Penn State went and got and them making a difference this year in everything they're doing? Kind of up in the air for me. I do think that Oregon has some different kind of weapons, but I do feel like they are those kind of guys that aren't going to win you one-on-one football. So they have a ton of options to put them in space and win speed game, but they're not going to go up and get a one-on-one ball against one of these really good DBs for Penn State. And then I kind of look like, if I'm Aller, I have to make sure I'm in the pocket and confident and delivering the football on time. Otherwise, like, Oregon has guys to get to me. And if I am looking from the other side of this, Oregon's got to run the football. We cannot let him sit in the pocket and just we have to make plays through the air. They're going to scheme it up. It's going to be really tough for Oregon to continue to run the football on them. Penn State's in a really good spot, I feel like, and just like, this has been the build. This has been the identity. This is what we knew the season was going to play out like. They're ready for it. But like you guys said it, like, Lanning just could scheme anything into, like, everybody in the world hates us. Like, we're so bad. This team is going to beat us by 1 billion. It's us against everybody. So, I mean, flip a coin is what this one feels like. This home field's worth 4.5 probably. I mean, we're talking neutral site. Like, I think
Pick them. Straight pick them.
Probably. Yeah.
I would think so. Reese, break it down for us.
So everybody's going to talk about Aller and more, but I think what's going to help out to figure out what Aller's going to be about is this Oregon defense. You bring back Bryce Bedecker as a linebacker, who's a stud last year, had 94 tackles. And then you also have a guy, try to pronounce it, Tatum Tuioti, I believe is how you pronounce that last name. Another linebacker who's a stud who's been alongside. They've both been very successful so far. Granted, they've been tested too much. Those are two experienced backs who know what they're doing, can line their guys up, give them the right spot. And then, guys, do you remember the guy by the name of Bear Alexander? He's on Oregon's defensive line.
I know that
He's
name.
a house. He's a house. He's 6'3", 302. Like, that's a guy who on the line of scrimmage can absolutely wreck a game plan. And I think Penn State, like, Aller hasn't had to be, all world yet so far. He's only got 5 touchdowns, but especially still like probably the best 1-2 punch in the country, other than the guys in South Bend and Allen and Singleton too. So I think Penn State, they're going to try to run the ball, but if you're able to plug those up, and Bedecker and Tuioti can fill a hole and cut and stop them from getting to the second level or to the third level, and make those Oregon defensive backs try to wrap those guys up as they get some momentum, I think it's going to be what kind of Oregon's going to try to do for this game. And then you look at the other side, I think it's your first real tough road test. It does scare me going into Happy Valley for it to be a hostile environment. I don't think they're going to get off to a hot start. I see it taking some time for them to get familiar, get some easy screens, some little bubbles, or hand the ball off something just to get them familiarized with it. But I think long term, I think Oregon offensively is going to have too much. Knowles, yes, he's coming over for the first time, but I think you're going to have a little bit of tested with what Oregon has to offer offensively. So.
All right, gentlemen, let's do it. Picks in the Penn State whiteout. Penn State 3.5-point favorite on the road. An undefeated matchup, 6 versus 3. Big Ten battle. JP, who you got?
I mean, I liked Oregon all week, but some just telling me back here, we're going to get one. Penn State's going to get one, so I'll take Penn State here.
All right, Big Ten Jake.
It's just like the Nebraska game last week. Like, prove me wrong. Penn State, prove me wrong. Prove me you can win in this situation. And until then, give me the Ducks.
You're also welcome.
I'm going to join in because Big Ten Jake said so. Give me Oregon on the road. I think
get on the train for it's too late.
Offensive stagnancy from Penn State in the past in games like this. I think Oregon, kind of a team that everybody's like, they don't have the big-time transfer quarterback, whatever. They're not going to last. Here's a coming-out party for Dan Lanning's 2025 squad, and it's going to happen during the whiteout. So give me Oregon to cover the number and win outright. Reese.
See, a young secondary for Oregon scares me going up against Cuddle Nicky. But if you're going to give me the hook, because I don't think Penn State blows them out, if you're going to give me the hook, give me Oregon in the spot.
Ooh, JP on a lone island again. That's 2 3-on-1s this week, JP. Hey, he's battling. We're battling for the top spot. Maybe we come over on top of him.
If you're playing devil's advocate, the one defensive coordinator that had his way with Oregon the last time, who it was Jim Knowles.
Sure was. Way to point that out after we all picked Oregon, Jake. Dumbass. All right. That one's already done. Oregon, Penn State, 3 on Oregon, 1 on the Nittany Lions at home in their biggest game of the year, in their opinion of their fan base. But let's see how that one goes. All right, let's do it. We got one more game to preview. It's our special game of the week. It is our group of 5 game of the week. We cover all 136 teams on this program. That's why you hit the subscribe button, and that's why you hit the like button. The game of the week is Buffalo and UConn. God, you got to be a greasy bastard to talk about.
I was going to say,
I love
you
this
think our
show.
listeners just went,
I love this show. I'm just realizing something. It is week 5, gentlemen. We might have to record a separate video after this because we cover them all, and I said we were going to do it. Is this the week we get a UMass Kent State battle?
It's not UMass.
Next week?
No, it's not this week.
Because Kent plays does Kent play
Probably
Oklahoma
somebody very good.
this week? I think Kent plays Oklahoma this week.
Oh, great. See,
No.
Fire that athletic director. Fire whoever scheduled it that way.
UMass is at Missouri.
Okay, so UMass Kent State. We will still preview that. Hit the subscribe button. Stay tuned for that. That is the all-time greasy bastard college football fan game. But UConn and Buffalo, also a big one. One of our favorite teams of the MAC, and Buffalo and UConn, an independent, a team that we have not talked about very often on this show, but we're going to break them down for you tonight. Jake, do it for us.
Yeah, this one's greasy because both of these teams entered the season with high expectations, and 2025 has not been great to them so far. Buffalo comes off of blowing a 17-0 lead to Troy. They barely beat Kent State. We just talked about UConn. They barely beat Ball State, who power ratings wise might be the worst team in FBS. And then they lose to Delaware the week prior. It's ugly. It's like who's getting off the mat for this one. And that's why we tune in and watch this one. The most intriguing storyline is former UConn quarterback Taquan Roberson is supposed to be taking on his former team, and he gets hurt. And I'm assuming from what I've seen, I don't think he's playing in this one. So
I don't think so either.
That puts Buffalo in a really tough spot. It's going to come down to Red Murdoch and the Buffalo defense and seeing if they can slow down Cam Edwards, Joey Logano, and that UConn offense. Because if Buffalo has a shot in this one, they're tied first in sacks in the entire country, and UConn's top 20 in passing. So two battering rams going at each other. Something's got to give, and I think Buffalo's defense is going to have to put out an all-time performance.
I think I just heard. Did you say Joey Fagano? Or did you say? Okay.
Yeah,
I swear I heard like Logan Fagano, like the NASCAR driver.
Hey,
and I was
if you're a college football fan stumbling upon this video later on or watching the show tonight and you didn't know his name or how it was pronounced, be a tough one if it was put in front of you.
I think I said Logano. I said I know I said Joey. I might have said Logano.
You said Logano. And I was like,
that's a safety.
NASCAR.
Close enough. At least I didn't say Logan Fagano. I got
run the ball.
That is we just ran a dive. That's running a dive for safety and the survival of the show. Thank you, Jake. But let's go. I want to give a quick note to UConn and their flowers, because in the 2 wins that they've got, both teams are 2-2 and they've had their bad losses. But the way this program has snuck their way into a conversation for a football game like this, like we wouldn't be talking about this 5 years ago, but they're not bad. And they've got some weapons on the outside, and one of them in Skylar Bell's been really good this year. Nearing 500 yards, only 4 games in, and 3 scores. Granted, one of them came in one of their 2 losses, but I really like them on this spot in the road. I don't think there's ever an atmosphere. There's only like 7 or 8 you can name in the G5 that would really make a difference in this. I think more squad's going to be ready to go. I think this Buffalo team having a hurt quarterback, that's a lot of what they wanted to do early in the season, and where they found their success within their 2 wins was getting Roberson out and letting him kind of convert on either rushing plays or extending plays. And without that in that offense, we've seen a bad Buffalo team after they've lost good backs. Give me UConn on the road to cover the number. I think they take care of business here. I think they have weapons on the outside college football is going to learn about if you're tuned into this one, and you should be, because UConn and Buffalo are teams that were picked with high expectations, I should say, for UConn, and at the top of the MAC.
Buffalo. I mean, the MAC is still out there for Buffalo. We mentioned earlier in the show Toledo losing, like that. Troy loss really doesn't hurt anything in the long scheme of things. And
Miami of Ohio, a team that's played back-to-back, is 0-3. Like they look horrible. So Buffalo's still in the mix for this thing. Don't get me wrong. Buffalo's a talented team. I just like UConn in this matchup for what they've got this week. JP.
Yeah, I think the path to win here is Buffalo running the football really well. Even when Roberson was playing, as they were not throwing the ball around the yard super well. And then on the UConn side, I don't think the Delaware loss is the knock that people think it is. I had Delaware over 4.5 wins. That team continues to look better and better
against
after a
Colorado.
slow start against Delaware State. To me, I think Fagano just is too much. I think it's too much of an attack. I think it's too much of this is a really good offense that scored on just about anybody they played. So going to be a ton of fun, but I'll take it with UConn if there's no Roberson. And hey, tell Southern Miss not to lose at Tech last weekend. We're probably talking Jack State, Southern Miss, but
100%.
I like
tell him that twice because I had him as my dog's dog. I thought I got bitten by I was like, I found the bad line. Twice. Vegas messed up. They did not mess up.
Vegas is indeed right.
Vegas is still
right. AKC though. Very, very good AWL. Reese, your thoughts on this G5 matchup?
So you talk about UConn, like offensively, they're scoring the ball extremely well. Like they got 11 balls or 11 touchdowns through the air, and they got 11 through the ground too. Pause.
Sorry.
We're good. Hey, I watched a UConn team go compete against my Orange up in the Dome as well too. And I mean, offensively, they looked like they knew what they were doing, and they were making Angeli make some go to a second, third read. So I think UConn, we didn't really touch on their defense so far. I think they got it squared away on that side of the ball as well too. When you talk about losing Roberson, JP hit the nail on the head, though. If they're going to try to win this game, they're going to run the ball. They're going to slow it down. They're going to try to keep it out of UConn's hands. But the problem is, like I've mentioned this a lot too, but like if you're going to make long drives, you got to be able to capitalize and get 6. You can't settle for field goals because I think that's what UConn's going to be able to do is score touchdowns. Maybe not early and often, but they're going to be able to score them a lot more often than I think Buffalo's in this game. So I like the Huskies in this spot.
All right. We're going to take that as your first pick. You like the Huskies? They cover the number, Reese?
Yes.
Okay. UConn outright and covering the number. Put me on that as well. I think the quarterback being hurt, big time deal, especially when you get down to these G5 programs. They don't usually have a depth piece that can step up and really run the scheme how they want it to be run, especially with an offensive explosiveness that UConn has the capability of. So give me UConn on the road to cover the number and win.
Congratulations, Buffalo.
Yeah, we got a unanimous. Oh no,
I don't think I gave my pick, but I'm going
his.
I'm going UConn. I'm going UConn.
Jake gave UConn, and JP's on UConn. Full row of Huskies. Buffalo, this is a great time.
I think we were 1-1. I think we were 1-1 last week on unanimous picks. We didn't get Utah, but it wasn't.
We won. We missed Tulane, but we won something else. I can't remember. We were 1-2, I think.
Yeah, we've lost them before. So Buffalo, don't count yourselves out. That's for sure. So UConn Buffalo, that is our G5 game of the week preview. Make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're tuning in just for that one. We will cover the G5 all year long. Just ask our boy, the Friday KC. He's always coming in when we're talking G5 football. So we appreciate you being here. All right, that's it for previews. Let's go into the betting segment to end tonight's show. We got best bets. We got the dog's dog, which is our underdog of the week. We are going to start tonight with the dog's dog. Last week's bets, Reese +7 for SMU, did not cover. Myself, Southern Miss +3.5 at La Tech, no. Delaware +6 for JP at FIU, that's a cover and a win. That's a big point swing. And then Jake, Purdue +26.5 at Notre Dame. They did cover, folks, thanks to the hook.
26. Thank you very much.
Yeah, they did cover, thanks to the hook.
Jake's getting mad at me for covering by hooks on the board. Here we go.
A lot of points over there in South Bend. Standings this far: JP 12 points, Reese 10 points, Jake 9 points, Parks a little bit behind that. So we will bounce back this week. We got a big time pick coming up. Let's go first to worst. JP, you're up first.
I got 2 on the board here. Don't like either one of them. I got to be honest. I had a hard time. Yep, I had a hard time looking for one this week. Give me Bowling Green +10.
Bowling Green
at Ohio.
Reese.
Give me Bowling Green.
Yeah. All right. Bowling Green. What's the number you got on that for official standing? 10.5. So covering outright win would be absolutely huge in that spot. So Bowling Green +10.5 versus dog's dog. Next up, Jake.
You guys got a paper bag? You might want to need. I got one grosser. I'll take Georgia Southern +17 at JMU. JMU is actually just an absolute wrecking ball right now. Within the G5, but Georgia Southern's still running for 4.8 yards per carry, and I think they can score some points in this team. However, their defense,
Sun Belt title team,
this defense is horrendous. That's what scares me. But I'm just picturing a shootout here, and Georgia Southern stays within the number. I'm in third place but I'm almost positive my teams have covered every week.
It's possible.
I'm pretty sure I'm against the spread.
Cover an outright win scoring system is tough. I'll tell you that right now.
Well, I had a 17.5 point outright win,
us?
buddy. So
yeah.
So I'm going to look no further. They let me down week 0, but I don't care. I'm going back to the well. I don't care that I lost my quarterback. Plus 5.5, the Orange at home versus Duke. You got Jeff Nixon, who is still our offensive coordinator. You got Ricky Collins, who's a 4-star.
4.5.
What?
4.5.
4.5 Okay, 4. Okay.
Well, is it 4.5 or 5.5?
Oh, you 5.5? No, it's your pick. I was guessing.
No, I had it written down yesterday. I'm not sure. Let's.
No, it's 5.5. 5.5. Give him 5.
It is 5.
That's an ugly number.
I have 5.5. I have 5.5 on DraftKings. But yeah, no. If you're talking about Jeff Nixon, who's still our offensive coordinator, and Jelly hit over 1,000 yards so far. I think Ricky Collins. It was a battle with him for a little while too. Who's going to be the starter? So still have a hell of a quarterback. So I think you still got the guys who have looked well. You got Justice Ross Simmons. Gill have looked good. Duke's been turnover prone. We saw in the Illinois game. You're going on the road. If you're going to give me more than a field goal, give me the Orange at 5.5.
All right, the Orange at 5.5. For my dog's dog, and I need some big plays out of here. I need an outright winner, gentlemen. To be honest with you, do they say? Have you guys ever heard the captain goes down with his ship? Yes. I'm going down in this basket.
I think you've sunk already at 2 points.
No. Illinois.
A lot of ball games left.
6.5 at home against USC. USC gave up a bunch of points last week. Well, granted, Illinois did the same. But the home field, buy back in, gentlemen. Bielema's going to have them ready to go. I'm dying with the Illinois takes from the preseason. Give me Illinois plus 6.5 at home this weekend. We need it. Illinois, baby. All right, let's go to the best bets. Flip the page, not underdogs. The bets you love the most. JP covering up his eyes for good reason.
What's going on here?
JP's 0-4 this year. Gentlemen, he's giving out 4 best bet picks.
Oh, he is
not giving a winner. So we are unfortunately looking for
He's
one.
Off this week.
It's called due for one.
He's hiding for good reason. Last week's best bet, Reese, Oklahoma, minus 6.5 against Auburn. Shout out to the safety. That's a winner.
Safety with a cover, never a doubt.
Parks, I had Vandy minus 26.5. God, that line's gross. Winner. Jake, 2-2 overall. UTSA minus 4.5 against his beloved Colorado State. 17-16. You got the win, didn't get the cover. And then JP, Louisiana, minus 2.5. Felt great about it.
He's aware. JP does need to hide his face because people have probably lost their homes that are filed for divorce because they're just putting their bankroll on JP's 0-4 picks this year.
Louisiana minus 2.5.
Jake also wanted Louisiana last week, too.
Some poor soul at a Deadwood bar named Saloon 10 took the Cajuns. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. He did. Hey, he also
so bad. So bad. I should have known when JP picked it. I should have just ran. I should have ran away.
Yeah, and not only that, but JP was hyping it up. I mean, I think Louisiana got up early. I saw him give a fist pump and an ass slap to Jake, like, hey Louisiana, that's up right now.
That was the one I went down. I went down with that ship. I was there.
It did not hit, unfortunately. So we're looking for a first winner out of JP this week. But let's go first to worst, starting from the week prior. Reese, you're up first.
So I'm sorry to kick a dog ways down, JP, but I think Indiana on the road. I know this is where top 10 teams go to die, but I'm going to take Indiana minus a 7.5. I don't think I was going to score enough. I think
for these.
Eddie is just going to run it up. So give me Indiana minus a 7.5.
Oh my God.
Take 14.5.
Oh,
I was going to ask if I could get – I took 7 on Sunday, so I was going to ask if I could get 7, but apparently my pick is taken, so it's – all right, we're on to another one. God.
Jake, we need your next one.
I hope you have a second paper bag. I got Louisiana Tech minus 3.5 at UTEP. Don't ask questions.
Not a lot of faith in Malachi Nelson. All right.
No, I mean this is supposedly a Louisiana Tech team.
Somebody just turned it off. Somebody turned the show off after that.
Yeah. Sonny Cumbie keeping a job, baby.
I mean, listen. Friday he could probably vouch for me. See, he could vouch for me. Conference USA guy. He knows what I'm talking about here. I think this UTEP experiment is just it hasn't really worked, and I was I was kind of on that train heading into the preseason, and Sonny Cumbie's proven me wrong so far at La Tech. And I think if this team is going to be legit within Conference USA, you got to go on the road and win this game by 6 or 7 points. You got to do it. So prove me wrong.
Gentlemen, can we have a serious conversation about my love for my G5 affinity? Does anybody in the world know where this pick is not going? I mean, seriously. North Texas is not even a 2-touchdown favorite at home against South Alabama. They're giving away free money. Vegas is giving away free money. North Texas is going to put up another 50 points this week, and they just can't give up 50. I mean, South Alabama, they're not going to score at that clip. We're going to force enough turnovers. North Texas, the mean green, the 4-0 mean green to you. That's Mr. 4-0 mean green to you, folks.
What's that
Minus
number?
12.5. Minus 12.5.
Hey, bad week to pick against USA. That's all I'm saying. It's a bad week to pick against USA.
Great week to pick against them. North Texas, Jordan. Mark it down. Give us your 0-4 pick, please.
Over 64.5, Notre Dame, Arkansas.
We're picking it over. We're picking totals now.
Hey,
because
anything
we
in the
can't
bottom
win
of the
anything.
barrel.
Notre
Hey,
Dame
change
was
it up.
great. Arkansas is part of that awful defense. That was part of the Ole Miss Arkansas game. Also, a couple DBs out for Notre Dame. Arkansas score on anybody. Book it.
Can we get
I got to be honest with you. I love the pick. I was looking at the game too, and I was like, it has to be so many points in that football game. They give up 30 to Purdue. Shout out Barry Odom. 30.
We should make a parlay of this just every week. The four legger.
That
play the
would be-
fights.
and
the odds would be there.
dogs and the bar spat.
Maybe you should try to do 3 until I can win one and then earn my way back in.
I wouldn't advise taking my dog's dog. However, the best bet parlay, I like that. I like that very much. We might have to post out what the parlay odds would be this week for the folks, for the people. But all right, that wraps up tonight's show. We went a little long, but boy, oh boy, was it a good one. The Week 5 slate is loaded. We appreciate you so much for tuning in. Shop No Rivals, shopnorivals.com. Use code PTFS for free shipping. Shop Frostbuddy, frostbuddy.com/PTFS to let them know we sent you. Get your universal can cooler. Keep your drinks cold all season long. Shout out to the AWLs. Shout out to everyone's mom. We love you. Go USA this week in the Ryder Cup. We'll see you next week. Jake, take it away.
Yeah, shout out to anyone who's at a wedding this weekend. Thinking of you, brothers. Thinking of
Don't
you,
go.
Will, as he's driving down there. Love you guys. See you next week. Play it.